Hey there, guys. Hope you had a good day today. Had another nice, relaxing day. Boy, this recovering from surgery thing has been going pretty nice. um, so yeah, it was a nice, quiet day. I stayed home from church. Wifey Dearest and the kids went just so that I could continue to rest, and plus, I didn't really feel like going out just with having to for sitting, and long periods of sitting or standing, and just I didn't feel like it. Still not quite ready to make a public appearance yet. So I stayed home and got some more rest while wifey Dearest and the girls went to church, and pretty much just hung out. Got some stuff cleaned up around the house, and started getting things ready for the big move next week. But something that did, I was thinking about the movie we were watching last night, Back to Bataan. Didn't really get into it much in the last vlog. Basically, it's a John Wayne movie. It's actually a propaganda film from World War II. It came out in 1945. It's about the fighting that was going on in the Philippines. I really recommend the movie. It was really good, but there's just something about it that I found really interesting. Not so much with the movie itself, but more of a comparison. Again, it was a propaganda film, so it was really big on, go America, rah, 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 freedom, bravery, etc., etc. But there's this one scene in particular that kind of stuck out to me. We see, there's a minor spoiler, but it deals with minor characters, so it's not that big of a deal. This school, this Filipino school, is taken over by the Japanese soldiers, and as they've taken over this village, the Japanese tell the principal of the school to haul down the American flag and raise the Japanese flag. And we had just seen the principal being very pro-America. They taught us how to be free and be dignified human beings and all that kind of stuff. And so you can tell his sentiment was very much in line with America, and he refused to pull down the flag, and eventually the Japanese the officer in charge ended up killing him. Well, then later, one of the school teachers, an American woman who was teaching at the school, she gets found by a group of guerrilla soldiers being led by John Wayne, and she tells them what had happened. And in this scene, she tells John Wayne's character to when they take that village from the Japanese, to put this epitaph over the principal's grave, and it's some very flowery quote from a Filipino war hero. I don't remember the name. I don't remember the quote. It was kind of long. But just the nature of this, it's just like the movie just kind of stopped. And then there was this bit where the teacher went on this little, gazing off into the distance, giving this speech, this very noble sentiment. And, it's supposed to be a very touching scene, and especially keeping in mind that it's from the 40s. And, it fit in the time period. But it struck me that type of a scene would not fly today. Now, I haven't seen any of the recent, war movies like Zero Dark 30 or any of those other ones, so I don't know how patriotic movies are handled these days. But what struck me about this scene is that it actually reminded me of the way a lot of independent Christian films will do their thing. There will be times when it's time to deliver the message of the story, the movie will tend to come to a screeching halt, and someone will kind of speechify. That's like exactly what happened. And I almost wonder if it's because a lot of Christian filmmakers, especially the more conservative homeschooly types, we don't watch the more modern movies. We watch all these old classic movies. And I wonder if that's influenced a lot of the way that we make our movies now. I just found it really interesting that, okay, stop the story, time for a speech that gets our point across. Okay, now we go on with the rest of the movie. And that happens with Christian movies today. Probably the biggest example of this would probably be Courageous. There was a couple spots where they decided to, okay, stop the story. This is what our movie is about. Now let's resume. So I just thought it was an interesting parallel, and I wonder if it's because those are the types of movies that the more conservative Christian filmmakers have grown up watching, and so it's a style we've kind of emulated in a way. So yeah, that's just some interesting thoughts. But speaking of old movies, where'd I put it? I got where'd it go? I got a DVD from my parents, kind of a get well soon gift. Let me find it. Where'd it go? Hello. Okay, found it. My parents gave me this. Alfred Hitchcock's Legacy of Suspense. It's 20 of his old movies, like from back when his career first started, some silent movies. They're all basically like pre-1940. Looking at, the most recent one I see is looking 1939. I don't see, okay, there's a couple episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents from the 50s, but other than that, the actual movies are all pre-1940. So these are like his early works. So, very much looking forward to watching these. Thank you, Mom and Dad. It's just interesting. These are the kind of movies, this is the kind of filmmaker I'm trying to study under. Hitchcock was a genius at storytelling. Yeah, I don't like all of his subject matter, but I do think he was probably one of, if not the most brilliant filmmakers of all time. So maybe us indie Christian filmmakers should be studying more Hitchcock than 1940s propaganda movies. Just a thought. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. More than just a recap of today's events, some random thoughts for you to consider. So yeah, that's all I got for today, so I will see you tomorrow.